In the 92, Dorian Yates from England would win 6 in a row, retiring in 97. Then came Ronnie Coleman and rattled off 8 consecutive titles before he lost to Jay Cutler, who would win 4. And Dexter Jackson would squeeze off 1 victory. And then we came to the gift. He would win his first Olympia in 2010 and win the next 7 consecutive years, which brings us to tonight.
And you're looking at the scene backstage in the pump-up room as the guys get ready to take the stage and do their final tune-ups. Before another, we will either crown a new Olympia, only the 14th in the contest history, or Phil Heath will retain the title and establish, won't establish a new record, will equal the long-standing record of Ronnie Coleman and Lee Haney. So a lot to talk about tonight. Of course, James Flex Lewis is here. He's trying to win the 212 title for the 7th time. Angelica Teixeira in the Bikini Olympia division is trying to repeat and defend her title. You're looking at Dexter Jackson. We call him the 8th wonder of the world, almost 49 years old, still in tremendous shape. He's here trying to secure another spot in the top 5 as he walks past Ruli Winkler, a guy who had a very impressive showing last night in the preliminary judging. And the great thing about Dexter Jackson, Shawn, is he's always having a good time.
Listen, he knows he's in the twilight of his career, so he's soaking it all in. But with a body like that, he's still in the hunt. He's in the fight. He's one of the top bodybuilders in the world, still striving and surviving. These guys have come from all over, from the Czech Republic, Puerto Rico, United Kingdom, Canada, the Netherlands, as far away as Egypt, and of course with Ruli Winkler, Curacao. We've got plenty of guys representing the USA. This is an international competition, to be sure. There's Nathan Diashe, who came all the way from England. He's starting to pick up steam, and we see the return of the King Snake. From Texas, Steve Kuklo is in the house.
You have been waiting for. Tonight, you will finally have a voice in choosing the next Mr. Olympia. Phil Heath will attempt to win his 8th Sandow Trophy. Yes, Flex Lewis will be competing one last time for the 212-pound Mr. Olympia Trophy. This year's prize money will be the biggest in our sports history, with $1.4 million being awarded and distributed tonight.
All right, how we doing, Vegas? Man, it is great to be back. Welcome to the 2018 Olympia, the house that Joe built. The Fall Classic, the Super Bowl of bodybuilding. Let's just call it what it is, folks, the best of the best. Then please welcome your first finalist from Curacao, the Beast, Ruli Winkler.
Here we go.
All right, we are underway. The finals of the 2018 Mr. Olympia. Our first competitor, Ruli Winkler, makes his way to the stage to mark the beginning of what we anticipate will be an epic night in bodybuilding history. Ruli Winkler used to compete more often. He only competed twice this year, and one of those a win at the Arnold, Australia. He landed in the top 6 here a year ago. Shawn Ray, let's get a look at the 2018 version of Ruli Winkler.
Ruli has been on this slow incline with his career, winning over in Finland, winning over in Kuwait, winning over in Australia, and making a run for it here tonight. He's very cartoon character-like, Dan. You open the old magazines, you see the silhouette drawings. This is very caricaturing. It's like ridiculous in terms of the size of the arms and the width of the lats and the calves that even come up. Ruli, a steady work in progress. So much muscle here.
Well, based on the prejudging, it looked like they had him very much in that top 3 or 4 group. We know the fans at home love Ruli Winkler, and so too do the fans here in the arena.
That's the best Ruli Winkler's ever looked on this stage in his career.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the USA, Flexitron, Shawn Rhoden.
Shawn, is when he relaxes his stomach in between, but look, he steps into the light, and you can see the quads separate, the abs pop, the deltoids pop. Shawn's ready.
There it is.
If he ever was going to be a threat, tonight's tonight.
Shawn Rhoden has made his case.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the United Kingdom, Nathan D'Asha.
One of bodybuilding's rising stars from the UK, competing in his third Olympia. You're looking at Nathan D'Asha. He was seventh here a year ago. Of course, a former British champion, and very much climbing his way to the upper tier of this sport. Shawn Ray, it looks like he has brought it once again.
Yeah, he's been a steady work in progress as well, and he's starting to peak at the right time.
Up for grabs, of course, the $400,000 first place prize.
Absolutely, you get rewarded for the hard work. Nathan is rising to the occasion.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the USA, Brandon Curry.
If I die and go to heaven, well, I'll make it through the main gate.
5'8", 252 pounds, by way of Tennessee. Former USA overall champion, Dan. Trains out in Kuwait at the Oxygen gyms as well.
We got down to those third and fourth call-outs. We saw the quality really at all phases of this competition. Brandon Curry does not appear right now to be projecting as a top 4 or 5 guy at this point.
I've got a top 8, and that's respect for Brandon.
Absolutely.
He belongs in that top 8 for sure.
A great bodybuilder.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the USA.
This is where they warm up, Dan, before they hit the main stage.
Jensen.
We're watching backstage on the monitors as well.
Well, here he is, the world's most decorated bodybuilder. He turns 49 in November. 28 professional wins to his credit, Shawn, more than anyone in the history of the sport. And of course, one of those victories came 10 years ago tonight when he was crowned the 12th man to win the Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, he's the new modern-day Albert Beckles of the sport. I remember when I guest posed there. Actually, I won in 1985 in Australia. Albert Beckles got second to the great Lee Haney in 85, and he was 46 years old at that time.
How he handles his family and his fans, and just watching his workman-like approach to the sport. He has respect for himself. He has respect for others. And I will say this over and over again. Dexter, it has been our privilege to watch you compete, and we hope you stick around for a few more years because he is extraordinary.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The Blaze.
help me congratulate Dexter Jackson on his 19th Mr. Olympia.
Nothing to be ashamed of there, Dan.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the USA, Cedric McMillan.
You want to get excited about looking at a beautiful physique. Pay attention to this man right here, standing 6'1", 280 pounds. Serving the United States military, Cedric Big Mac McMillan. He's an artist.
There's no one quite like Cedric.
Funny, Dan, some of the guys, when they pose, they forget the audience is there. But Cedric is very aware and very interactive with his audience, which makes him a very popular personality and guest poser around the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the USA, Steve Kuklo.
All right, here's your 2011 NPC USA overall champ. He's won 4 times on the pro circuit. And Shawn Rhoden's back here on the Olympia stage for the 5th time.
Look at those numbers, 5'11", 270 pounds. Kuklo, he's actually dieted down to that body weight. He's got the size of an NFL lineman. Everything's there, just got to get the conditioning.
The guys are backstage. Of course, the 212 guys are also starting to warm up. We'll be looking at the bikini competitors a bit later on in the program, and I'm told William Bonac is moved into that position in the backstage area where he will soon enter the stage, which is what he is doing, and we're going to get our first look tonight at William Bonac.
William Bonac, Dan, a year ago was 3rd place by way of the Netherlands. He can't be but 5'5", maybe 5'6" on a good day, but he's very thickly, heavily muscled, reminiscent of a former Bertil Fox.
One of the best bodybuilders in the world. He finished 5th here in 2016, then he climbed to the top 3 a year ago. There were some people felt that
much improved from 24 hours ago, William.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from Egypt, Mongola, Big Ramy Elsbaye.
Shawn Ray, bodybuilding is a sport of all different shapes and sizes, and there is perhaps no shape or no size like the man we are looking at right now, Mamadou Elsbaye. They call him Big Ramy for extremely obvious reasons, and we're going to sit back and watch the posing routine of the man who was the runner-up at last year's Olympia.
Can't sleep on this guy. He's still dangerous.
One of the biggest, one of the best, one of the most popular bodybuilders in all the world, Big Ramy.
Great guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the USA, your 7-time reigning and defending
poses, and he's dried up nicely. Now we come to the payoff, and they start with the comparisons.
All right, let's bring out our top 10 on the diagonals. Remember, folks, this is being judged live right now, so be as loud as you want and try to help the judges out with their decision. All right, our gentlemen in place, let's send it down to the judges. Big Steve.
Thank you, Bob. Brandon and Nathan.
Everything is at stake. Someone's life can change forever.
Absolutely. It's almost like, you know, American Idol, for example.
That's right.
And you could say this is the best of what's left, but man, this is even interesting here, Dan, because we have a former Olympia index.
High-level caliber of athletes in this call-out. Big Ramy in a second call-out the way.
Arnold Classic title at home on their mantle, on their fireplace. He's got one from Brazil. Brandon's got two, one from Australia and Brazil. Big Ramy's got one over. With the exception of Phil not being in this call-out, Dan, this is like Could be any pro show anywhere in the world.
Group of bodybuilders, it's incredible, and it shouldn't get lost in any of this. And of course, Cedric McMillan is still putting on a show for these guys. And you know, Nathan wanted better. He came here looking to get into the top 5, and he's got a chance to compete for that spot, as you just mentioned, because to reiterate what you just mentioned, the 5th place finisher has punched his ticket. Is that correct, Shawn?
I believe so. All these guys, I mean, Dexter's one of the most, he competes more than anybody. The majority of these guys will probably go on to the tour. This show's coming up after this, including the Czech Republic.
So what's the advice to Big Ramy? Obviously, this is disappointing. He came here to win this contest. He's going to go back to the drawing board.
In terms of managing finances, managing relationships, jobs, and other careers, these guys have nothing to be ashamed of. It's a long and winding road.
When I say
To get a good look, we got to compare William and Rolly. They have to stand next to each other to establish 3rd or 4th place.
All right, Shawn Ray, let's do this. Phil Heath versus Shawn Rhoden. Front double bicep.
Rhoden wins this pose.
Shawn Rhoden or Phil Heath?
Shawn Rhoden is winning this pose.
So right now, according to you, Shawn Ray, Shawn Rhoden is up 2 poses to none.
Oh, man, that's Phil Heath's shot. His arms are too big first off.
That's Phil Heath all day long. Gentlemen in the middle have the back double bicep, I'm sorry. They're gonna go into the back double. And by the way, William Bonac delivers a terrific back double off on the left side.
I can tell you, maybe William might be winning that back shot.
Extraordinary specimen, a remarkable bodybuilder. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to determine who's gonna walk off with a Sandow trophy. So that's the way we have to do it. Shawn Ray, to the lat spread, compare them.
I'm going to go with Phil on that because the upper back is more grainy and separated. He's just doing that for the thrill and excitement.
And of course, the midsection of Shawn Rhoden is extraordinary.
Water is starting to come off of Phil, especially around the shoulders and the upper chest area. And this is obviously, for me, that's Shawn Rhoden's pose. Through his nose, but he's breathing through his stomach. So he's fighting for it, and that'll make you have to breathe for more air. Bonac is sticking harder as he poses.
Thank you, gentlemen. Back in line.
This contest has not been decided as of right now, Dan. There's no way there's a clear-cut victory for Phil Heath.
And the title of 2018 212 Olympia champion and 7-time Olympia champion, Flex Lewis.
There it is, the pride of Wales. At 34 years, he has won 7 titles here in the Olympia 212. He said coming into the year he wanted to win 7 because his idol Arnold Schwarzenegger did just that. He wanted to equal that number, and he wanted to exit this division on his own terms as a champion, and he has done just that. He wins this competition for his family. He wins this
This is it, folks, the last comparison for the title of Mr. Olympia.
All right, the last time these guys will be compared, history will be made one way or not. And either way, it will be a historic moment by the time Steve Weinberger is done with these final comparisons.
Side chest.
One side note, that is Brandon, soul brother #1, Curry, that is in that top 5 call-outs. A very unfamiliar place, but well-deserved. And an 8th Sandow trophy you're fighting for. You want to have plenty of space, Dan, on that stage. And right now, they all are serious. Man, this is coming down to the wire. Because again, we counted the poses. And if we're going numerically on the poses, Shawn Rhoden slightly edges. I've only witnessed, Dan, personally, 1 upset on this Olympia platform, and that was back in 2008. If Phil gets beat, does he come back next year to try to make history? That's going to be the bigger question.
We know what happens. We saw Jay Cutler defeat Ronnie Coleman. Harder at this point, but
I think Shawn's done enough, bro. I mean, I'm looking at this in real time, and I got Shawn Rhoden right now, and these guys are entertaining us while the judges are doing what they've done. This thing is being judged right now. And I got to tell you, if you're going to give Shawn
enough to win, but it was good enough to remain among the very best on the planet.
Phil is very smart in showing his back doing all of these poses. That's his #1 pose. It's how this show's won and lost. He won this contest last year on those back shots, and he could do enough to win it here again tonight. So this show is still up for grabs.
Please take the 5th place award, the 5th place check for $45,000, and present it to Brandon Curry.
All right, another strong Olympia for Brandon Curry, and he moves into the top 5, which means he is now qualified for the 2019 Mr. Olympia. He'll pick up a nice check, and also he will command the status and the respect that comes with being in this very exclusive club.
He's probably had the hardest run of them all with 4 kids running around.
Looking in the eyes of the
Please
champion,
take the
gotta
4th
wonder
place
what he's
award,
thinking
the
right
4th
now.
place check
But first,
for
let's hear who finishes
$55,000.
4th place.
And present it to William the Conqueror Bonet.
As predicted yesterday, Dan, I thought he came in a little heavy. He dropped 1 notch, which is not a slap in anybody's face, but he's a little too heavy on this stage. If he dries up a little bit more, drops a little bit of weight, and that's hard to say, I think he'll streamline this physique and be right back in the hunt again. But right now, he's remaining in the top 4. And
Please take the 3rd place award, the Olympia bronze medal, the check for $100,000 to your 3rd place finisher, Rolly Winkler.
All right, Shawn Ray, your people's champion is the #3 bodybuilder in the world. A terrific Olympia showing for Rulli as he continues to fine-tune that massive physique, those freaky proportions, and he has turned it in to what is now one of the top physiques on the planet. Rulli Winkler is your 3rd place finisher.
with $100,000 to show for it, man, that was earned the hard way. Rolly Winkler, very deserving, very popular, and his status and his stock in this industry has...
Shawn Rhoden and Phil Heath on the center line, please.
We've seen this play out before as Phil...
Mr. Olympia. To our winner. And new Olympia champion.
Ooh, there it is!
It has happened in Las Vegas for just the 14th time. We have a new Mr. Olympia. The defending champion has been knocked out. Shawn Rhoden is your 2018 Olympia champion. Phil Heath's run, at least for now, will end at 7 in one of the more improbable developments. Phil Heath stands at center stage congratulating the winner, Shawn Rhoden. And I gotta tell you, Shawn Ray, coming into this weekend, there weren't many people that would have ever dared to predict this outcome.
Absolutely, and I wasn't one of those guys that thought that for 2 seconds. However, I talked to a fellow professional bodybuilding friend of mine from Italy, Gianrico Pica, who saw Shawn Rhoden on Wednesday night the day I arrived. He has a show coming up, the Amateur Olympia in Italy next weekend. He said he saw Shawn Rhoden, and Shawn Rhoden was going to win this show. And I looked him in the eye, and I could not believe what he was saying. Shawn Rhoden has accomplished what no other man has in over 10 years.
Our coverage is going to continue.
A couple years ago, I should say, which takes your eye off the prize, and there she is. That dress has got all kinds of stuff on it now, but it's got that gold medal, and she'll remember this moment years to come.
And a reminder, do not put your kids in white when you have Crocan on. I know, sweetie, I feel the same way.
Got second runner-up here, and now he became the Buster Douglas of modern-day bodybuilding by knocking out the reigning defending champion. And here's our
Phil Heath in a stunning turn of events. Not so stunning if you consider the pace of the show, but stunning when you consider what we walked into as we arrived here in Vegas. There were very few people that ever considered the possibility that Shawn Rhoden, after last year's 5th place finish. And then there were 14. Shawn Rhoden, congratulations, our newly crowned Olympia champion. I think that's going to wrap things up here from Las Vegas at the Orleans Arena. Our coverage of Joe Weider's Olympia weekend has now come to an incredible close with the crowning of a new champion. They often say in this sport of bodybuilding, the most memorable nights are the nights where a champion is crowned for the very first time. And Shawn Rhoden, thanks to you, you have given us that moment. For all of us here, we appreciate the hard work of Robin Chang and everybody over at the Olympia production team, our director, Luz Wick, my co-hosts, Amanda Latona and Hall of Famer Sean Ray. For our newly crowned champion, Shawn Rhoden, I'm Dan Solomon. Good night.